We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Tes Amud Beis in Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 109b. On the previous summit, the Gemara brought a different brisa, which brings a source for the idea that the father comes before the brothers in terms of inheritance from the word vahavartam instead of from the word she'ero. And the Gemara now is saying maybe we should learn that pasuk in a different fashion. Maybe we should say that it actually means v'iyat mavir nachala min ha'av, that you don't take the inheritance away from the father, afilu b'makom bas, even if there is a daughter, meaning to say, maybe what the pasuk actually means is that the daughter comes before the brothers, but not before the father. And the Rashbam here says, v'iyat mavir nachala min ha'av, afilu b'makom bas, even if there is a daughter, you do not pass the inheritance away from the father. Hach lav dafka mikra mishtam amidi. The Rashbam says this is not what we'd actually learn from the pasuk. This particular fact we're not learning from the pasuk. Elahachi kamer. Rather, the Gemara just means to say as follows: Mehaikra lo seilif debas kodemes lav. Why do you have to say that this pasuk tells us that a daughter comes before the father? Delo mairi krabiav. Maybe the pasuk is not talking about father. Elabiachiv. Maybe the pasuk is talking about brothers. That's what the Gemara said on the previous summit, the line right before this. Elaliolam emalach dav kodem labas. Maybe it's actually true that the father comes before the daughter. Tehu karov tvei, because he's considered to be more related. That's what the Gemara is saying. Maybe that's actually what the pasuk is talking about. And if you learn the pasuk that way, the word vahavartim is not referring to the father coming before the brothers at all. The word vahavartim is actually talking about the brothers and the fact that the daughter comes before the brothers. And the Gemara says to that, Imkain, if that were the case, lo nichtov rachmana vahavartim, it wouldn't actually need to say, the pasuk would not need to say vahavartim, meaning, if the point of the pasuk was to say that the daughter comes before the brothers, that's actually obvious. You don't need a pasuk for that. And so therefore, it must be that vahavartim is saying that the daughter comes before the father, and of course, again, the father comes before the brothers. And the Gemara continues, Ulaman denafkalemi vahavartim. Now, according to the one who learns out the idea that the father comes before the brothers from the word vahavartim, so hai she'ero my avidle, so what does that Tana do with the pasuk of she'ero? And the Gemara says, Miboyle lechidatanya, so that Tana will use she'ero, again, has nothing to do with the father coming before the brothers, but rather for the following brisa. She'ero zu ishto, the brisa says that the pasuk, when it says she'ero, refers to the person's wife. Melamed shahabal yoreshes ishto, that teaches us that a husband inherits his wife. That could be another thing that we learn from the word she'ero. And the Gemara continues, Ulamad denafkale mi she'ero. Now, according to the one who learns from the pasuk of she'ero, the idea that the father comes before the brothers, hai vahavartem ayovidle. So what does he do with the pasuk of vahavartem? And the Gemara says to that, Miboyle lechidatanya, that Tana needs it for what we learn in the following brisa. Rebbe says, Bekulon nemar behen nesina. When it talks about nachala, when it talks about inheritance, it always uses the word nesina, giving. Vekan nemar behen havara. But over here, it uses the word it uses the term of havara, vahavartem as nachalaso labito. Why does it use the word havara? She'ein loch shemaver nachal mishevet l'shevet, because there is no way that an inheritance will go from one shevet, from one tribe, to another shevet, to another tribe, elabas. It's only through the daughter. That's the idea of vahavartem as nachalaso labito. Because when an inheritance goes to the daughter, let's say there are no sons, and therefore the inheritance goes to the daughter, it actually, in that situation, it potentially can end up, the land can end up with another shevet. And why is that true? Because her son and her husband inherit her, and so therefore if she marries somebody, if her husband's from a different shevet, it's going to go to a different shevet. And again, if she marries someone from a different shevet, let's say it goes to her son, that also would be a different shevet. So that's why it uses this language of vahavartem. And the Gemara continues, now we said earlier, according to the one who learns it from she'ero, the idea that the father comes before the brothers, but how do you know that she'ero refers to the father? Because it's written she'era vichahi. We said already, it says in the pasuk, she'era vichahi, and so therefore you learn that she'ero refers to the father. But by the same logic, by the same logic, we might as well say that the word she'ero refers to the mother. Because the pasuk also says she'er imchahi, uses the word she'er by mother as well. Why do you know that the word she'er refers to the father, not the mother? And the Gemara says to that, Amar Rava says, Amar Krutz, because the pasuk says, Mi mishpachto v'yorash osa. It says in the pasuk that it's from his family that there is an inheritance, and we understand that to mean mishpachas av kruya mishpacha, the family through the father's side. Paternally, that's considered mishpacha. Mishpachas aim ain't a kruya mishpacha, but the family on the mother's side is not called by the term mishpacha, and we understand that inheritance has to be through mishpacha, and therefore the word she'er Be'ero is referring to the father. And how do we know that? Because it's written in the pasuk, Lemishpechosam lebeis avosam. It talks about the families, lebeis avosam, to the house of their fathers. And so you see that mishpachas av is called mishpacha. But the Gemara continues, mishpachas aim eina kruya mishpacha. Is it really true that mishpachas aim, the family on the mother's side, is not referred to as mishpacha? But it's written in the pasuk, Vahinar mi beis lechem Yehuda mi mishpachas Yehuda. This is a pasuk in Sefer Shoftim by Pesel Micha, by the idol that was set up in the story of Pesel Micha. So it says that there was a young man from Beis Lechem Yehuda, and it says mi mishpachas Yehuda. It says he was from the family of Yehuda. V'hu Levi, and it says he was a Levi. V'hu Garsham, and he was living over there. He was going to be appointed as the Kohen, as the priest over the idol. And so here it says he's a Levi, but it also says mishpachas Yehuda. So Hagufa Kasha, now it's internally contradictory. Amrit v'hu Levi. On the one hand, it says in this pasuk that this individual is a Levi. Alma mi Levi asi. You see that he comes from Shevet Levi. But then it says mi mishpachas Yehuda. It says he's from the family of Yehuda. Alma mi Yehuda asi. You see that he comes from Yehuda. So Elalav, rather than that, Avua mi Levi. His father was from Levi, which is why he was a Levi. Ve'ime mi Yehuda, and then his mother was from Yehuda. Ve'kamar mi mishpachas Yehuda, and it says he's from the family of Yehuda. And so you see that the family on the mother's side is referred to as mishpacha. And so the Gemara says, Amar Rava bar Rav Chanan. Rava bar Rav Chanan says, Lo, no, Gavra d'Shmei Levi. Actually, it doesn't mean that he was a Levi from Shevet Levi. It actually means we're talking about a person whose name was Levi. His name was Levi, but he was from Shevet Yehuda. But the Gemara says, Ihachi, if so, Hainu Dukamar Micha, is that explain what Micha says? That won't even make story in the context, that won't make sense in the context of the story, because Micha says, Atoya dati, now I know, Ki yetiv Hashem li, now I know that Hashem has done good for me, Ki hayali halevi l'kohen, because now the Levi is going to be my Kohen. I found the Levi to be the Kohen for me in terms of the Kohen for the idol. And clearly the pasuk seems to be saying that this person is a Levi from Shevet Levi. It's not saying that his name is Levi. And the Gemara says not necessarily. In yes, disrami legavra d'shmei Levi, he means that I found a person whose name was Levi. It could be that Micha was saying, now I know Hashem has done good for me because I found this person named Levi who's going to act for me as a Kohen. But the Gemara still asks, V'chi Levi Shemo, but is that even true? Can you say that Levi is his name? Was his name really Levi? V'halo Yehonasan Shemo, we know his name, and his name was Yehonasan. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, Yehonasan ben Gershom ben Menashe, hu uvan of Hayu Kohanim, l'shevet Hadani. It says that Yehonasan ben Gershom ben Menashe, etc., they were the Kohanim. It says he and his children were the Kohanim for Shevet Dan, and so therefore you see that his name was not Levi, so it must be that it really means he's from Shevet Levi. But the Gemara says to that, Amar Lei said to him, V'letaimech, but according to your reasoning, V'chi ben Menashe, what does it say here? It says his name was Yehonasan ben Gershom ben Menashe. Was he really ben Menashe? V'halo ben Moshe, who really this is talking about the grandson of Moshe. It's Yehonasan ben Gershom ben Moshe. Gershom was the son of Moshe, but we refer to him as Menashe, as we'll see. V'halo ben Moshe, isn't he the son of Moshe? D'chsiv, as it's written, b'nei Moshe, Gershom v'Eliezer. It says that the sons of Moshe were Gershom and Eliezer. Elamitoch she'asa ma'isa Menashe. Rather, why are we referring to him as ben Menashe? It's because he was acting like Menashe in terms of his dealings with idols, with Avodah Zarah. So since he acted the same way that Menashe acted, a Tolo HaKosav, but Menashe, therefore the pasuk connects him with Menashe. So Hachanami, so here also mitoch she'asa ma'isa Menashe, da'asi mi Yehuda. Since he was doing ma'isa Menashe, he was doing things like Menashe, who was a descendant who came from the tribe of Yehuda. So Tolo HaKosav Yehuda. So therefore the pasuk says that he's from Yehuda. It doesn't necessarily mean that he actually is from Yehuda. And when it says mi mishpachas Yehuda, and therefore again we can explain that there's no proof over here that mishpachas aim is kruya mishpacha. And the Rashbam explains, Elamitoch she'asa ma'isa Menashe ben Chizkiah melech Yehuda. We're talking here about Menashe, who was the son of Chizkiah. He was the king of Yehuda. She'avad avodah zarah. He worshipped avodah zarah. So Talo HaKosav Menashe. That's why the pasuk here connects him to Menashe. Hachanami. So here also Liola mishevet Levi hu. So really we can go back and say he really was from Shevet Levi. Kedekamer, like you said. V'hai dekari leimi mishpachas Yehuda. And when we refer to him from the family of Yehuda, which we tried to say proves that even the mishpachas aim is called mishpacha. Lav mishum da'asim Yehuda. It's not because he comes from Yehuda. Lo aviv v'lo imo. He's not a descendant from Yehuda on his father or his mother's side. Elamitoch shasa ma'isa Menashe ben Chizkiah. It's just because this is the way he acted, so we connect him with Yehuda. And the Gemara continues. Amar Rabbi Yochanan mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, Mikan. From here we see shetolin hakilkala b'mekulkol, that when somebody is corrupt, we connect that with something else that is involved in the corruption, just like over here, that we connect this individual to Menashe. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Amar Mehachar. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina says we can learn that lesson out from here, from the following pasuk. It says, V'gam hu tov toar ma'od v'oso yolda acharei Avshalom. It's talking about Adoniyo. It says he was born after Avshalom. Now the implication is that they both had the same mother, if you're saying he was born after Avshalom. V'halo Adoniya ben Chagis v'Avshalom ben Macha, but they do not have the same mother. Adoniya was the son of Chagis, Avshalom was the son of Macha. Why are we connecting Adoniya to Avshalom? Elamitoch sha'asam ma'isa Avshalom, but because Adoniyahu, because he acted like Avshalom, demarad b'malchus, because he rebelled against the king, so talo akasab b'Avshalom, that's why the pasuk connects him with Avshalom. And hachanami here also, mitoch sha'asam ma'isa Menashe, talo akasab b'Menashe, here also because he acted like Menashe, the pasuk connects him with Menashe. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Elazar says, Liolam yidbak adam betovim, a person should always connect himself with good individuals, Shaharei Moshe, because when it comes to Moshe, Shenasa Bas Yisro, he married the daughter of Yisro, and Yisro was involved in idol worship, so Yatzim Mimenu Yehonasan, this individual we're talking about over here, by the Pesel Micha, Yehonasan, he came from Moshe, also involved in idol worship. But when it came to Aaron, Shenasa Bas Aminadav, that he married the daughter of Aminadav, Elisheva Bas Aminadav, so Yatzim Mimenu Pinchas, so Pinchas came from Aaron. But the Gemara continues, Pinchas lav mi Yisro, Asi, didn't Pinchas also descend from Yisro? V'aksiv, isn't it written in the pasuk, Ve'elazar ben Aaron lakach lo mi bnos Putiel lo leisha? It says that Elazar ben Aaron, he took for himself for a wife from the daughters of Putiel. And my lav, is it not? To Asi mi Yisro, shapita magalim lavoda zara. Who are the bnos Putiel? It means the daughters of Yisro, because Yisro fattened calves for avodah zara. And so therefore it's true, even though Pinchas is from Aaron, but Pinchas's mother actually was a daughter of Yisro as well. So how can we say that Pinchas turned out to be a good individual because of the fact that Aaron married the daughter of Aminadav, but Pinchas's own father, Elazar, actually married the daughter of Yisro? And the Gemara says, no, it doesn't actually mean the daughter of Yisro. That's not what Benos Putiel means. Rather, Da'asi mi Yosef, rather what it means is that this woman who Elazar married, she came from Yosef, Shapit Beit B'Yitzro, who battled against his Yetzer Hara, talking about the incident with Potiphar's wife. And so therefore, Pinchas really did not descend from Yisro. He descended from Elazar, from Aaron, and also from Yosef. But the Gemara continues, Valo Shvatim mevazim also. But when it comes to Pinchas, weren't they mevazim him? Didn't they disgrace him? V'omrim, and they said, Re'isem ben Puti zeh. They said, look at this ben Puti, meaning ben Shapitem avi imo agalim lavodah zara. That's exactly what they said. This is the son who the father of his mother, he fattened calves for avodah zara. That indicates that he really did come from Yisro. That Pinchas's grandfather actually was Yisro. And the Shvatim continued and denigrated him and said, Yarog nasi shevet me Yisrael. Should this individual, Pinchas, should he kill a nasi from Klal Yisrael? And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Yud Amud Aleph.